Hello guys, today we're flying Savoia Marchetti S.M.73 from Catania to Palermo, and I must say a couple of things about this aircraft, but first let's handle the startup procedures and final taxi and takeoff, and I guess I'll be telling about the aircraft in the air, because well, that's my fourth attempt to record this video, and every other attempt were unsuccessful due to various reasons, particularly due to the reason of timing, because when a video about one model takes, for example, 2 hours and I completely lose sense of time, that's not good. The textures are a bit heavier, at least in the interior. They have finally loaded. So this aircraft have a few tricks that everybody should know, because they are not documented. For example, it has only ADF navigation, it has one alternator attached to engine number 2, and not every cockpit has as many clickable zones as this one. Well, as for the other features, I guess I am telling about them in the air. Those are primers, those are mixture controls, those are throttle, and on the right of throttle there are carburetor controls, and those are magnetos and master ignition. On the left, electrical panel, which is starting with battery, and we start the battery, and next thing I cannot do with the virtual cockpit, so I'm switching to panel. Compressed air here, we select engine, we select current to be flowing to that engine, we prime that engine, ensure that it is turned on, at least for fuel supply, and we just roll this handle. After the engines are running, we, at least manual says so, should turn on the alternator, and it is presumably located on the bottom left of electrical panel. Well, it is empty, as you can see, and the electrical pop-up panel is starting with battery on bottom left. So I just override this one with Ctrl E, or is it Shift E? No, it is Ctrl E to start the engines automatically, but they are already started. So I just press Ctrl E, and to display what does it do, the modern electrical panel, to help those who are not familiar with old navigation techniques. And after alternator is powered up, we are free to chat with the ATC, we are free to enter ADF frequencies, which is the main mean of navigation here, main source maybe of information about the flight. So I'm going to So I guess it deserves some comments from me to describe why haven't I pushed back from the gate. Well, the pushback of this model is rather unpleasant. The pushing vehicle comes after the tail gear, and while it reaches tail wheel relatively freely through all the fuselage and through all the engine, through the wing, it's clipped and looks rather strange, to say so. On the way back, it collides with the hitbox of the model, and that results in a crash. So we either turn off the realism settings for pushback and turn them on later, or we could just use differential braking if there's enough space between us and the wall and the other vehicles. Oh, and by the way, I guess I should be entering ADF frequencies once we powered up. Not that much. And well, I guess this panel, where is it, could help better. 355.5 fine tuning. There's somewhere fine tune for the not there, as you can see. Well, it's easier to enter the frequency from here, but this is also clickable, and we should enter the course, which is approximately 293 degrees. Not there, but that's 290, and fine tuning 1, 2, 3. And this is our heading. So this is set, we are ready to go.
Catania Tower, India, Sierra Alpha Uniform, Lima at runway 8, ready for takeoff, departure to the east.
India, Sierra Alpha Uniform, Lima, clear for takeoff, runway 8, departure to the approved.
Clear for takeoff, runway 8, Alpha Uniform, Lima.
not quite good departure, distracted by measuring manifold pressure. I almost made an excursion. Thankfully this is short takeoff, and not so short, but presumably short landing aircraft. And as we can probably hear, I think I was maybe wrong about the altimeter in feet. Maybe that's actually hundreds of meters. Anyway, we are going to fly at the altitude of about 1 kilometer to measure the fuel flow. That's the main purpose of my flight today. And we are soon getting to our altitude. Maybe I mistook the 500 meters for 5,000 feet, because you see the inscriptions of the altimeter are rather blurry on my screen, and I cannot see for sure where is it supposed to be. Well, I should say a bit about the Whiskey Compass too. That's not standard model, that's something related also to the means of navigation that were rather primitive in the era. And you see it has two scales, which are not quite easily readable, but the lower scale could be set the way that it will depict desired heading, and the upper scale will then match desired magnetic heading by bending left or right, and it is rather intuitive, because when we bend right, the scale goes right. When the bend is on the left, the scale goes left, and our task, the task of pilots flying, is to keep that scale matched all the time, at least between two points of the route. Well, maybe I'm failing this task today, because our ADF instrument that exists in this cockpit but may not exist in the other variants of the package, it shows that we should get a bit of left banking. So I'm going to stabilize the aircraft now, and we are almost close to cruising speed. Sorry, that was unprovoked interruption by Microsoft Windows. It apparently decided that if I'm holding the shift button, I'm going to switch some keyboard options. That was not intentional. Now I guess it is time to say a few words about the aircraft itself and the model. The aircraft has seen as many as slightly above 40 built. The other that make the numbers above 50 were actually other variant, the bomber variant, S.M.73, I believe, and the aircraft was widely used not only in Italy but also in Belgium and in England, I believe. Well, at least there are some historical records about those Savoia Marchettis belonged to Britain. trying to escape Germans' aggression with a group of total 3 aircrafts with a total of 36 passengers, but they were actually intercepted and well, caught on land at some airport in the northern Africa, but that's the history of the World War II. But not of this exact airframe, which I believe is something more related to pre-war airlines, and some prototypes were also shipped to Belgium and became part of their airspace society. I'm talking about Sabine now. And regarding the means of navigation, I should by now, first of all, I should correct the heading, and next I should request actual bearing and set it on the compass. And next I should request the navigator for relative distance to the beacon. Let's do that. Magnetic bearing 287. That means we should correct our course. Oh. Well, I was right initially to turn left and turn left a bit more. You see the bank angle indicator almost in the center, so we're not diverting from the course, but still we should use this bearing instead. And now the funniest part of all navigation of the air, I should enter frequency of another IDF. That's Catania IDF. And judging by those two frequencies, the operator should be able to determine our relative position. it's not very informative without an actual map, but I think I can live with it. Pretending to have the map, well, I'm always missing this. Pop-up windows, so we do pretend we've got the map here. Maybe if I click to clear the information, oh no, airspaces stay. Well, okay, so be it. Anyway, that's not actually the whole spectrum of what this aircraft can do, because we've covered only takeoff, and I believe it took enough time to wrap it up and to say some final conclusions. Well, first of all, this model comes in 5 engine options, if I haven't told yet. This one is Alfa Romeo engines, the other one Piaggio engines, Piaggio PX, or maybe RX, I'm always forgetting these details. The other one is Wright Cyclone, the other one is Walter Pegasus, and the last one is Gnome Heron. The Sabena aircraft in particular has Gnome Heron engines installed. Every of these engines, they sound naturally, they sound differently one from another. Maybe Wright Cyclone is derived from the radials that are already in FSX, but as for other engines, there are some variations that exist. And also, in real life, this aircraft has complex of fuel tanks incorporated close to the aircraft's center of gravity to reduce already high moments, and a total of 8 tanks were operated by flight engineer, and radios were operated by radio operator, as dumb as I can say it. These 2 crew members were located at this section. We can see here a turnable actual frame of ADF antenna, the line of communications antenna goes from the nose to the aft, and on the right side I believe this could be some sort of speed measurement equipment, but it also could be auxiliary alternator powered by the stream. The aircraft, despite its outdated wooden design, has flaps, but those flaps work only on speeds lower than 150 kilometers. Otherwise they are blocked, and they are powered with the manual pump. So the pilot actually pumps about 10 or 15 times to fully drop the flaps, and the pilot also pumps in the opposite direction to retract the flaps. And this aircraft got additional development in the time of World War II, while this model and the variant of S.M.73 were redesigned into Savoia Marchetti 79, SM-79, which was the bomber aircraft, bomber and transport aircraft. And for explain, only SM-79 model exists for explain 9, but I don't have an explain to test it, so I am pretty happy with what FSX get. And also, nice detail, particularly in this pack of aircrafts. Gear is also different. The chassis are linked in different angles. There are different fairings, and for example, on Sabena aircraft, fairings are half opened. They have openings on the side of the wheels to maybe easier wheel replacement process. And I believe in terms of landing and handling on descent, this aircraft is rather tricky. It does not hit so much. It does not have cowl flaps. Its drag of flaps is also limited, so you should first drop power, then stabilize aircraft in the horizontal flight, then drop flaps by pumping, and only then you could start descending. Otherwise, it results in rapid descent and coolant shock to the cylinders. And by the way, that nice device on the right produces weird clicking sounds when we turn with the bank angle more than it is allowed for current wakes. Please forgive me for maybe some wrong pronunciation. Well, I'm writing this video for a fourth time at least, so maybe it's a bit hard to me. And there's my favorite thing in this aircraft, this string of metal. This is the brakes. I haven't found the parking brake yet, but it should also be somewhere there, or maybe it's something that fixates this string in the one position. Technically we should apply brakes, by the way, every time we take off to stop wheels from rotating and so on and so forth. But that's not stated in the manual, so that's only my theory, which may be rather wrong. So I won't be recording the landing because everything that could have been said about this model in particular and the aircraft in general has been said, and there's long flight, about 50 miles ahead. That means another 20 minutes. I'm now just deciding whether I record this flight. Well, maybe I should. I've got live real weather on with my favorite weather add-on, FSAviator. So maybe if we encounter icing condition here in the clouds, which is rather possible, it will affect performance. So maybe I'm just saying my goodbyes for now and continuing the flight. After all, if the flight gets too many time on the log, I could always break the video in two and maybe keep the other part from uploading, or maybe for later uploading. Sorry for fuzzy chat. I'm really tired after previous attempts. Stay safe, fly safe, have a nice simming experience, and till the next time.
Golf Foxtrot Kilo at runway 25, ready for takeoff. IFR to follow start.
H Indian Foxtrot Golf Foxtrot Kilo cleared for takeoff, runway 25. Alpha Uniform Lima cleared to land, runway 25.
Cleared to land, runway 25. Alpha Uniform Lima. Cleared for takeoff, runway 25. H Indian Foxtrot Golf Foxtrot Kilo.
Contact Palermo, departure on 118.65.
118.65. Beach Golf Foxtrot Kilo. Runway 25, Cessna Mike Victor Whiskey.